They want to have a voice. They want to have a role. They want to be consulted. And the technology piece is huge. I mean, how many times have I been standing at the front of my room messing with something, or the LCD or this and that, and I'm going, okay, somebody come help me. I can't figure out what to do. You know, or even to this day, I take my phone to my son and go, okay, what am I supposed to be doing with this? I don't know how to do this thing. So these are the kids that we are teaching now. These are who they are. This is who they are. Yeah.
I think one thing that also encounter as a teacher is that they are, I guess, not emotional, but their egos bruise easily. Because it's it's a whole generation of, we out of school, either won first place, second place, or you just, you had a good time doing it. Now we kind of celebrate, you came in last place, here's our next last place trophy, so you have to almost coddle them or something to kind of pick up from me, because they don't do well with you telling them no, or not being successful, or not being celebrated.
That is a really good point. My son is 27, and gainfully employed, and almost off my payroll. And when he moved out, I went into his room, and there was an entire shelf of trophies. Now, a lot of those, quite honestly, were just because I paid some fee and he showed up. They didn't win anything. Yeah, he didn't win anything. He showed up every time. He got a trophy for it. I'm like, what's up with that? Now, I do think, though, we have to acknowledge sometimes the small things, but I think by doing that whole, everybody's wonderful, it gives kids that false or unrealistic sense. So if you were with me yesterday, one of the things we talked about was we have to help kids become realistic about what can I do, and just showing up is not going to get it. Is not going to get it. So I think you're right. We still have to celebrate. And one of the tenets of a good middle school is we don't have a star system where, I don't know if this happened to you, but when I was in high school, I went to high school with Vicki Sue Stratton. Vicki Sue Stratton, I think she went home at night and read the dictionary. Made a 1600 on her SAT. She was smarter. Oh God, she'd forgotten more stuff than I ever knew. So we go to honors assembly, right? And what do? I just sit on my butt the whole time, because who's going up and down for everything? That'll be Vicki Sue Stratton. Top this, top that, top this, top that. Well, here goes Vicki again, there goes Vicki again. The rest of us just sitting there twiddling our thumbs. Okay? That didn't work out all that well for me, as you can see. But yet, if they had brought me up there and said, you had the 32nd highest grade point average. Well, see, that's just wrong. That's just wrong. That's not a good thing. But we do have to look for those acknowledgments where we can say, one of the things that I did with my kids, every week we had a team meeting, all 120 of them, because we were like a family. We'd find a place to be for 120 kids and 4 teachers. We would talk about what are some acknowledgments you would like to make. Tell me somebody who did something good for you today or this week. Getting them to acknowledge small things like, you know what, I forgot my homework, and so you let me run over to his house and borrow it. See, that's a small thing. That's not saying somebody was 52nd on the roster. But yet it is saying you do have value. You do have value. And I think that's a really important thing to do. These are some of my kids. And so here is our challenge when we move into our personalization. And I'm going to pause here just a second, okay? So it's meeting the unique needs of every single child. This is when we were doing hot air balloons. We built and launched hot air balloons. This was at one of our camping trips. And doing it in an environment where we're also meeting the needs, the criteria that have been laid out for us. So that is what personalization is going to do for us. We're going to take just a quick little break. And as we do, I want you to do a stretch break. If you need to make a quick run, you may. I want you to look over this definition of personalization and pick out the key words to it. You don't need to write anything down, but you can stand up, you can do a stretch, you can do whatever it is you need to do. We're going to take about a 2-minute kind of a stretch break while he's making a change back there. Okay? About 2 minutes. Is the definition that you would find in NASSP's breaking ranks in the middle. So it's a little bit different than what you might think of as personalization. I think it's a great definition, But the reason that I spent so much time before we got to this definition talking about kids goes back to that quote that we had at the very beginning. Before you can personalize an education for a child, before you can reach a child, you must know that child. You must build relationships. You must understand who you are teaching. So I hope you haven't felt like we've just spent an awful lot of time wandering around for no reason, but I cannot emphasize enough, and someone said to me just a minute ago, said, that fold the line activity would be a good activity to do with the faculty. Another easy one, a good one to do if you're interested with your faculty, is something called a decades activity. If you happen to have a faculty that has a wide range of ages in it, let them group by the decade in which they were 12 or 13, or you can do it the decade that they were born, whatever, and have them talk about what it was like to be 12 or 13, and then put up some posters that would say when I was 12 or 13. And it's a really fun activity to do, to really do a comparison. I didn't feel like today we had quite enough time to do that. But where we're heading with all of this is now we are ready to personalize the learning environment. We know these kids. We know what they like. We know what they can do. We know how they operate. We know how they think. And now it's time to really focus in on, so how are we going to help them grow? Go back to my cartoons. Cognitively, because we know we're being judged on test scores, socially, emotionally, and physically. Because only at that point, when we deal with the whole child, have we truly met our obligation to our young adolescents. Question, comment?
I'm happy you said that, because as I was reading that definition, and what I learned about personalization when I was working on my ES, it was different from this. So I'm glad you said that, and I think that's the reason why for the small learning communities or small schools, what they call personalizing the education, because you do get to know every student who's in that small school, what their dreams, their desires are, and you build a relationship with them. So when I was looking at that, that's more towards the curriculum.
Yes, it is. It's a different, and again, and if you go through the BRIM training, they actually talk earlier about that building relationships and all that kind of a piece. But I thought it was really important. I want to play off one thing that you just said, and then I'll hear your comment if you don't mind. And that is, one of the beauties in a middle school, and I don't care the size of a middle school, if you have teams in your middle school, and if you have advisory groups in your middle school, there is absolutely no reason that every single child is not well known. Because the purpose of those teams and those advisories is to create that smallness within that largeness. You can have a middle school of 2,000 kids, but these are my kids in my advisory group and on my team, and I know them very, very, very well. So that is possible.
That can really make a difference as to whether students succeed in college.
Oh.
When you talk about small college campuses versus really large ones.
Oh, but see, I think that's a part too of getting to know our kids so that we can push them in those areas and say, you know what? I mean, my son went to a high school of 2,500 kids. It was completely the wrong high school for him. He fell apart. It was a disaster. It was a nightmare. We pulled him out. We put him in a high school that had small classes, 12. It was a public school, 12 per class, 15 his largest class. It was a middle college program. It was fantastic. It was the right place for him. So I think that's part of knowing those kids and helping them plan that realistic path for where you're going. Yeah, question, comment?
I was going to say, one of the benefits of working in a small school within a school environment in Atlanta is that my principal made sure that we had experience with the children. So it wasn't a need of me trying to make a situation where I could get to know the kids. I experienced something with them. We did a ropes course, outward bound ropes course. So we got on the top rope. We had the experience. So when it came time to make it personal, we had things to pull upon other than, we went to this school or I lived in this neighborhood. We had a chance. Been on the rope. We did X, Y, Z, and you did so and so. And that's so powerful because children remember those moments when they have that bond with the teacher. It's not just a bond with a friend, but a bond with the teacher. It did something with them. Some people chose not to do the activity thing, and you're missing out on a great opportunity to build that personalization with your student that you're going to not get in the classroom.